So, ready for class number 4?
J'ai encore oublié mes lunettes. Il y a un challenge. Je crois que je vais laisser une paire de...
So,
Yes, we are ready.
I just want to review last week's last class. But you know what's interesting is that every week I'm like, what new thing is he going to teach us about bitachon? Okay, we understand God does everything, and every week there's a new point that was like, wow, okay, we need to hear this. Again, remember, Chovot Alevavot is the title of this book, another title, which means the work of the heart. It's really work of the heart. So every little new information you get is to help you work and strengthen your bitachon, because you're not born with bitachon, you have to work for it. So last week, I'm just going to give the little point that we ended off, which was very powerful, was saying that a story of the prophet Yeshayahu, who was afraid, and God had to reassure him and tell him, don't be afraid. And we're surprised because he's obviously a prophet, so he's a very holy man. What was he afraid of? Didn't he trust God? So through the explanation, we understood, yes, he does trust God. He just didn't believe that he was méritant. He was worthy of God's protection. And which ended off the class that no matter where we stand, God will always protect us. Don't ever be afraid that you're not worthy enough. So that's the last class. Now this class, I'm going to read inside. The Rabbeinu Bachai talks about an alchemist. Do you guys know what an alchemist is?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, interesting. I just discovered. I never.
Tu as pas lu le livre L'Alchimiste?
I want to read it, but I didn't read it.
Really.
So I'm gonna read inside. Okay. Umehem, among the Torah benefits of bitachon, שהבוטח באלוקים יביאו ביטחונו לפנות את ליבו מענייני העולם ולייחד לבבו לענייני העבודה. When a person trusts in God, his trust will bring him to turn his heart away from preoccupation with worldly matters and instead dedicate himself to matters of divine services. Okay, so when you believe in God, you're going to be occupied with holy divine services, which means Torah and mitzvot. ויהיה דומה במנוחת נפשו ורוחב ליבו ומיעוט דאגתו לענייני עולמו לבעל האלכמיה, והוא היודע להפוך הכסף לזהב והנחושך והעבדי לכסף על ידי חכמה ומעשה. In terms of the tranquility of his soul, peace of mind, and lack of worry regarding worldly matters, he can be compared to an alchemist, which is a person who knows how to transform silver to gold and copper and iron to silver through his talents and efforts. Such a person, if it were possible, would have little worry regarding his livelihood.
For sure.
So what does the Rabbeinu Bachai says? He says that someone who has bitachon will have peace of mind in his heart. He won't have worry, just like an alchemist. So I guess back in his time, this is 1,000 years ago, this was something people dreamed of being. This was the term people would use. If I'm an alchemist, I wouldn't have any problems in my life.
C'est comme un magicien.
People who claim to be alchemists, to have this power, were, are very highly regarded in the Middle
Exactly.
Ages.
So that's why he brings it here as a symbol of the person that everyone wishes to have this peace of mind. Today, I would say it's someone, I don't know what would be today's day and age, but anybody who's has financial stability.
Yeah.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, this kind of guy.
Again, he didn't believe in it. He brought it as a symbol, symbolic.
But it said if it was possible.
To make us understand what peace of mind is. That peace of mind where you're completely, you don't need to, every morning you wake up and you know someone there will provide for you, will take care of you, and when you want to understand what peace of mind is, think of an alchemist who will never have to worry about anything.
It still mentions, though, that through his talents and efforts, not just.
Wait.
Not
So
just
let's
just,
continue. So let's continue. ואם הוא חזק בביטחונו באלוקים, יש לו עליו יתרון בעשר הדברים. Moreover, a person who is strong in his trust of God is superior to the alchemist in 10 ways. So that he continues to say that not only will he have peace of mind like an alchemist, but if he's really strong in his trust in God, he will be 10 times more peaceful than the alchemist. Why? תחילה, שבעל האלכימיה צריך לדברים מיוחדים למלאכה ולא יוגמל לו דבר זולתם ולא ימצאם. Wait, sorry. I don't know if people are, I don't know if I should be.
Cheryl is not here.
She's not in it. Okay.
Non, elle avait oublié.
ולא יוגמר לו דבר זולתם ולא ימצאם בכל עת ובכל מקום. First of all, the alchemist needs specific materials for his work and cannot complete it without them. These tools are not accessible at all times and in all places. So he brought this example for one specific to teach us that even if the highest, right, that was the highest level of someone wanted to be, even that person, he has to worry, wait, are my tools, do I have my tools, do I have the materials needed?
So
he
the
still
peace of
has
mind
worry.
is not
It's not
100%.
exactly, but someone with bitachon והבוטח באלוקים תרפו מובטח לו מכל סיבה מסיבות העולם. Conversely, a person who trusts in God has his sustenance guaranteed from any means available in the world. And now he's going to bring an example. And we have to know when he brings examples, he doesn't just bring them for no reason. כמו שאמר הכתוב, like the pasuk says, למען הודיעך כי לא על הלחם לבדו יחיה אדם, כי על כל מוצא פי השם יחיה אדם. As the verse says regarding the manna that the Jews in the desert ate in the desert, so that he would make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but by whatever comes from the mouth of the Lord does man live. Again, I'm going to repeat. The only reason Hashem brought the manna is so that he would make you know that we don't live by bread alone, but by whatever comes from the mouth of the Lord do we live.
The mouth of the Lord.
Whatever from his whatever he provides for us.
Pourquoi il a utilisé la bouche, c'est bizarre, non?
No, ki kol motza pi Hashem, whatever comes.
C'est bizarre de le
Le mouth,
personnifier.
c'est la parole. La parole
C'est par
de
la
Dieu.
parole, c'est ça?
Peut-être.
Okay.
I don't. Il s'arrête pas trop à ça. By
Okay.
does man live? C'est Dieu. Ouais, en Dieu en parlant, il nous fait exister, mais pas juste exister. He provides everything for us. So let me talk a little bit about the man. Okay, we're gonna stop here and we're gonna talk a little bit. So we understood the alchemist, right? Why he brought that. Now we understood that the only reason he brought that is to tell us that even if you think this is going to bring you peace, there's bitachon is even higher than that.
Yeah.
And how is that? We see that with the man. So let's just understand. The Jews left Egypt. They were on a very low level. Egypt was the lowest of the lowest. They were really, really low. They needed 40 years to elevate themselves. Even with the miracles that they saw, they still complained and they still sinned and they did the egel. So you see that, you know, the golden calf, you see that they were really low and needed a lot of training to be proper Jews. Now what happens? When they left, you remember they left with their matzah?
Oui.
So the matzah lasted them, didn't go bad, and it kept on lasting. It was they kept on eating it until one day God said, that's it, no more matzahs left. And he said, I'm going to send you man.
Okay.
So the first miracle really was the matzah that was never ending. That lasted. It didn't go bad. And they,
1 week, c'est ça?
no, for a month,
Semaine,
over a month. And it didn't make sense. It was supposed to be finished. They just brought enough for that day to have. And it just kept on. He doesn't bring this miracle. Another miracle they had was that their clothes, they didn't wash their clothes. They didn't buy new clothes. If it ripped, it would stay nice and cleaned and permed and pressed and grow with them. That was another miracle. He didn't bring that miracle to teach us about bitachon. Another miracle was in the desert, there was water that would follow them. There was a special be'er, a well that was called Be'er Miriam, that was in the merit of Miriam. When she passed away, it stopped, and it followed them all through the desert. He doesn't bring that to teach us of God providing for us. He brings the man. What was the man? God said, I'm going to send the Jewish people man. He told Moshe Rabbeinu. How did it work? It was little crystals that would come early in the morning. There was a layer of dew on the bottom and a layer of dew on top. And the crystal were floating on the dew, and people would have to go out and collect them. So people who were righteous, tzaddikim, it was close to their house. It was right by their house, and it was in a shape of a bread. It was all ready to be eaten. People who were benoni, not a tzaddik, not a rasha, they had to go a little further, and they still had to work it a little more. They had to cook it or whatever, do something to finally eat it. And a rasha had to go really far, collect them, and really work on it to transform it into an edible food. Now this food was so perfect that they didn't have any waste. Whatever ate was absorbed in their body, was perfect food. Also, what happened was that every day they had exactly the amount they needed for that day for their family.
Yeah,
they didn't have any leftovers. On Shabbat, Friday, 2 portions fell, one for that day and one for Shabbat. So they wouldn't collect on Shabbat. And another miracle was whatever was left in the dew, like if there was, would disappear with the dew. So they went, they collected it, whatever extra would disappear. How crazy is this? For 40 years, no matter what they did, even if they sinned, it never stopped. They had man every morning. God said, I gave them man to test them. To test them for what?
That if they still believe that the next day they will have more food.
It was a test that normally the human being likes to know what's going to happen the next day. He likes to save. He likes to be prepared. But God said, if you trust me, you know that every single day when you wake up, you're going to have your food ready.
It was training.
It was real training, and they needed that for 40 years to prepare for them for when they go into Eretz Yisrael. What would happen? They wouldn't have man anymore. They didn't want to, when the first spies that went into Eretz Yisrael, they didn't want to go. They told them, don't go. You're going to have to work the land. You're not going to live in the desert with man falling from the sky. And they discouraged them. They thought it was better to live in the desert. But no, God wanted them to work, but he wanted them also to remember that even when you work the land, remember that in the end, I'm the provider. Doesn't matter what you do. It's all mock-up. All the work you do is just to bring down, but really who provides for you is God. And the manna, the reason why he sent manna, is that he's always sending us manna. It's just, no, we just don't see it.
Yeah,
it's just natural. But it's always everything we get in our life comes from a supernatural way, but it's covered up with nature, with our work, with what we do, so we don't see it. And our job is to be able to pick up that fake cover and to realize who is the provider in the end. It's God.
And to realize it's a gift every day, because it's not guaranteed, anything. La santé n'est pas garantie, l'argent n'est pas garanti, les enfants sont pas garantis.
Everything. So it's a work to realize the miracle that we are living every day and have everything we need is a miracle.
Yeah.
There's a story, beautiful story that I heard. There was a merchant. He would sell materials, right? Fabrics. And once a year he would travel, maybe once or twice a year he would travel to buy all his fabric, and then he would bring it home to his little store, and his wife would sell the fabric and he would learn Torah. He loved learning Torah, but he needed to provide for his family, so that's how he would do. One year he traveled to buy his fabric, but he came early, so he said, let me study some Torah. So he was studying Torah, and he got lost in his studying. And when he came to the market, everything was sold. They only had one red velvet material. Only that. A lot of it. He didn't know what to do. He was so upset. But he said he was someone who believed, who had bitachon, he bought it. He came home, and his wife's like, what did you bring me? What am I going to do with red velvet?
That's the color of the kings.
What?
C'est la couleur des rois.
So anyways, he said, this is what we have. Don't worry, Hashem provides. And he continued learning. And his wife was worried and didn't know what to do. And one day, it's funny you said that bit. The servants of the king came to his store and they said, we need this and this amount. Exactly the amount that he had. And they took all of his material and it paid his salary until the next, and even more, the next, the next time he goes to buy fabric. What does this teach us? It doesn't really matter what you have.
Worry, actually.
It's really bitachon. God provides for us. No matter what, he will provide for us. We just have to believe that whatever we need, we will get.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is what the man is. The man was a test for the Jewish people who did not trust in God. They had a very hard time trusting, and they kept on complaining every time. But every day they had to wake up believing that God will feed them and provide them exactly what they need, and go to sleep at night without any worries. And it had to ingrain for 40 years, ingrain into them, so that when they go into Israel and they start working the land and they start fighting for their land and building their land and really toiling for it, they'll still remember, no matter how hard they work, who provides for them? It's Hashem. Hashem provides for them. Again, in every situation Hashem provides for us, it will be supernatural. We just don't see it. We don't see that it's supernatural. The man was supernatural to show us that that's how God provides for us every day. Every single day in a supernatural way. He just covers up his trace. So we can see that he provides for us in a supernatural way. What do we need to worry about? If we don't have to worry about parnasa or about anything that we need, we just need to worry about keeping Torah and mitzvot. By putting our bitachon in Hashem, it will give us space to be able to do Torah and mitzvot. The Avot, the forefathers, right? Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob, they didn't receive man because they knew already that lesson. The man only came later for the Jews in Egypt, not for the Avot. They didn't need that. They knew who provides. They knew that everything that comes to them is from God. But the Jews, after that, the Jews, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, the Jews that left Mitzrayim needed to absorb it for 40 years in order to be ready for later generations. And every day we need to be reminded that whatever we learn in the Torah is not miracles that happened a long time ago. There are miracles that happen today, but we don't see it. We just need to open our eyes and search it and find it and realize that there are miracles that happen on a daily basis to each and every one of us. We just have to be aware of it. Okay. Let's see where. Okay, something interesting also that I read. In the Torah, it talks about two different ways of blessings. It talks about the rain, that God, I can't tell you the blessings how they are, but I'll say it in English, that God, if you work hard, and in the Shema it says it, if you work hard and if you do Torah and mitzvot, you'll be blessed with rain, right?
Rain, la pluie.
La pluie. Okay. And then, but dew is, and if, unfortunately, if you don't, then the rain is going to stop. And when there's droughts, it's usually there's in the Torah many times there were droughts. You know what a drought is? When it doesn't rain?
La
No.
sécheresse.
Sécheresse. And it was a result of the people who weren't behaving. The rain stopped.
Well, it's interesting that when he took them out of Egypt, he sent them into the drought. The desert is the drought.
Yeah, but it's not really the drought. That's just a place that doesn't have rain, but it's not a drought. A drought is when there's a place that doesn't get rain, that usually has rain, that has greenery and stuff that needs to grow, right? So someone's trying to call me. I don't know if I should answer. It's my daughter, but
Answer.
yeah.
Never know.
Okay.